All right. Good afternoon. Good morning, everybody. Very excited to have with me Michael Rozbruch of RozStrategies.com, the founder. And this will be episode number 30 in our continuing series of #BKOT. So everybody, I want to get started. And Michael, thank you so much for taking time out this morning. I know you're on the West Coast, and let's talk more. Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Chris. Real excited to be chatting with you this morning, it's still the morning, even on the East Coast.
Yeah, I confused everybody. My fault.
That's okay. That's okay. Yeah, so I started in this business just when the industry actually came into being. I consider myself one of the pioneers in the business, and I didn't get started until I was 42 years old. I came out of the corporate world. I worked in the corporate world for 18 years. Worked my way up from junior accountant all the way up to VP finance in some consumer product companies here on the West Coast. And I found myself to be unemployable at a certain point. There was no way I was ever going to work for anybody ever again. Because I'm the kind of guy who's kind of outspoken, and if I see a better way to do something, I will let management know. And I wasn't good at the political game. You needed to let your manager know and let him take credit for it. That wasn't me. So I decided to leave the corporate world and hang out a shingle in 1998, strictly doing tax resolution. Now, I didn't have any clients. I didn't have a book of business. I didn't have any IRS experience. My tax experience consisted of doing at the time some manual 1040s for family and friends. But I saw a really big need for this because back in '97, I was I still am a little bit, a C-SPAN nerd. And I was watching the Senate televised hearings on TV, and the average American got up in front of the TV cameras and were talking about how the IRS ruined their lives, padlock their businesses, people dying of heart attacks out of the stress. Why? These weren't bad people. Okay, these were good Americans, tax-paying Americans that, for whatever reason, a negative life-altering event took place in their life, which forced the filing and the paying of taxes to the back burner. Death or serious illness of a spouse, a child, a nephew, nasty divorce, nasty custody battle, loss of a major customer. If you were a small business and your accounts receivable were concentrated in one area and that company went belly up, all of a sudden you're going down the drain. So I decided to help people with those problems. I'm a street kid from Brooklyn. I love the David versus Goliath fight. I never backed down from a fight. I got my ass kicked more times than I can tell you, but I never backed away. I didn't know anything about marketing. Okay, I was an accountant, but I knew that being in the corporate world, working at all these consumer product companies, I realized that marketing was the oxygen of the business. It drove the top line, drove the bottom line. So I went outside the industry because in the accounting and tax space, there really weren't any marketing programs, and I studied from some of the best direct response marketing gurus in our time, Dan Kennedy, Paul Hartunian, Gary Halbert, Bill Glazer, all of those folks. And I realized that I can port over what they were teaching and bring it to the tax space. And that's how I started.
Wow. You were literally born an entrepreneur, and it just took you some time to realize the potential that you had. And now share it with everybody in regards to this. That's an awesome story. And so in doing this now and working with our audience per se, the accounting community, so you're a CPA or an EA, right? You have that designation, and tax, it's just compliance, right? Yep. And so this is a great avenue to move over to an advisory service. I noticed, speaking with thousands of clients over the last several years, and specifically since the ongoing pandemic started, that this is a model that they want to move into, and then they just don't know where to start. So can you talk about where to start and kind of elaborate on how to get this off the ground?
Right. So most of the audience listening that are in the accounting or tax space probably have already been exposed to tax resolution one way or another. They may not realize it because they probably had clients in the past that owed money to the IRS, and they told the client, look, I'll just call the IRS and set up a payment plan. And they don't think of the value that they're providing by doing that. A lot of folks who don't know what the value proposition in tax resolution is either did it for free or charged them an hourly rate. And most accountants think the work is miserable. And the reason is they don't have a system to charge appropriately. They don't know how to talk to the client. They don't know how to get across that value proposition to the client. It's a totally different animal than a compliance client. And one of the things I stress is if you're going to be serious about this practice is to form a separate entity, a separate 1120S or an LLC to house the tax resolution business, because it is a totally different animal than a traditional accounting or tax practice. But one of the best ways to start, your audience right now, this audience is sitting on top of gold, right in your own database. All you need to do is send, I call it a stealth referral letter. To the recipient, it looks like an announcement, but to you, the practitioner, it's a stealth referral letter. And basically what it says is that you have now expanded your practice to include IRS representation services in the following areas, and you personalize the letter, and you even segment the zip code. So it's really that you're doing this for, let's say, Los Angeles County residents or Santa Barbara County residents. And that letter, that one letter, will get the phone ringing. That's where to start.
Great idea. Yeah. And in order to better serve clients too, I've spoken about on my series, it's different touch points, right? And some clients don't know where to start, and that's a great way, right? Offering a new service for this, because yeah, you're right. I mean, these stories that we hear and what it does to small businesses specifically is devastating. They don't know what to do. Well, you can help them out in developing this, right? And so now about the pricing models that I've seen, clients, yeah, they're charging on an hourly basis to their clients, but moving over to the service or value base, I think is key. And so so let's say someone is charging on an hourly basis and they want to offer this service. Should they continue like that, or should they just put that in a specific bundle, or how would they go about now marketing it now that they're getting business?
Yeah, so they should put it in a bundle per se, and I'll go into that in 1 second. So Chris, in 16 years when I had my practice, I never sent out one invoice, ever. Everything was done on a flat fee, fixed fee basis.
Smart.
And I also, one of the keys to this business, and here's one of the big differences, is you need to secure a credit card authorization form or an ACH form for the monthly recurring payments in a tax resolution case. So the way my pricing model works, let's say the case is $5,000, which is the average tax resolution client's fee. I would collect 30% as a deposit, which is $1,500 to start. And then I would carry the client interest-free with 6 to 8 monthly payments, because most tax resolution cases take at least 8 to 12 to 18 months to resolve. So I'm paid 100% before the case settles. I have deferred revenue on my books versus accounts receivable. I have money in the bank for services yet to be performed with this model. And I didn't consider it a sale, Chris. Look, when I was in the business, and to this day in this business, I told people I was a marketing and sales organization that provided exemplary professional services in the tax resolution field. So I viewed my entire business, I viewed marketing as the overarching umbrella to everything I did. So once you make that mindset shift, and it's hard for accountants, it's really hard for accountants because accountants are great technicians and they have a hard time with that mindset shift. But marketing isn't the, the one thing you need to really embrace. It's the only thing that's really going to drive your net, your bottom line. Now, I'm assuming the audience is already top shelf with regard to technical skills. I'm not taking anything away from the technical, but the technical is secondary to the marketing. I don't know if I got off tangent there, but that's
no. It's important to understand, kind of where to start this, and so now you let your clients know that you offer this service, and starting on the hourly model, make it into a bundle model, and then you got to find ways to also have the compliance work taken care of, and then so the owners or the partners, directors can be in front of the clients and keep driving that and keep marketing out to them to get more of this business. So now we're in the part to where the clients also are realizing that they can have clients nationwide, right? So doing tax resolution, do you have to just do it in your city or state, or can you offer it across the country as well?
That's a great question. Yes, you can, because the IRS is a federal agency. And as long as you're in good standing with your state's certified public accountancy licensing agency, or your state bar, because a lot of attorneys do this work, or you have a valid enrollment card from the IRS as an enrolled agent, you can represent clients over state lines in all 50 states. So you can really exponentially grow your practice out. And by the way, tax resolution lends itself to the remote virtual model. People don't want to come into the office. I mean, 99% of my business was conducted over the phone. Most people don't want to come into the office.
Yeah, it's definitely the environment that we're in is set up for this to be successful, not just for specific clients in a certain area, but for all their clients.
Yes.
And now, so when you're doing this and working with the client, you said it takes several months for this, to kind of come to fruition. I'm sure people are thinking this is going to consume a lot of my time, right? So from start to finish, can you estimate or give an idea in working with it? You said an average case was $5,000. Is this going to, with time is of the essence, especially during season, can you outline kind of the time that would take for the CPA owner to work with the client themselves?
Sure. So there's 3 phases to every collection case. And by the way, 90% of your tax resolution clients are going to be collection cases. In other words, money that's owed that they can't pay. The other 10% are audit representation. So each collection case is broken into 3 phases. The first phase is transcript investigation and discovery. The second phase is compliance, because 50% of your collection cases, the clients are going to be considered non-filers. They're going to have an average of 4 to 7 years of unfiled returns. And then the third phase is permanent resolution. So when you break it down that way, and we have a fee schedule for each of the phases, each of the activities, a case like that, Chris, if someone owes, let's say, $65,000 to the IRS and has 4 years of unfiled returns, and let's say he's being levied, his paycheck is being levied by his employer, that's a $9,000 case, not a $5,000 case. And what I'm talking about is the rule, not the exception. These are your bread and butter tax resolution cases. So that case is going to remain in your inventory. In other words, it's going to be in your office for probably 12 to 18 months if you're doing an offer and compromise. However, man-hour labor. See, I have a cost accounting background, so I costed out all of these activities and came up with my fee schedule. So that inexperienced, it's going to take you 20 hours to resolve that case. You'll have it in your inventory for 15 to 18 months, but at 20 hours, at $9,000, what is that? I think it's close to $450, $460 effective hourly rate. And once you have some experience and you get some of the case management software that's available, you should be able to shave 5 hours off of every case. Now you're talking about your hourly effective rate north of $600. So there's a fortune in this business. It
For
really,
sure.
yeah, yeah.
I think I may have you train me now. That'd be a good side gig. But no, that's great. You know, the 12 to 18 months, but at the same time, an hour a month essentially, and working with the client. I mean, that's easily done. And it's as long as it's like doing one tax return a month essentially.
Right.
And okay, so now, is there a certain amount of cases that the CPA firms can take on, or I mean, can they really, speaking with clients, they're trying to think of different ways, you know, to leverage their services. I mean, can they take on like 100, 200 cases? I mean, how does that work? Or can they only take on a certain amount? If they're seeing this as maybe a full-time position. And
well, 80% of the work, Chris, can be done by non-licensed persons. So the license, or the CPA or the EA license, is used to negotiate and speak with the IRS. But all the grunt work, all the client contact, and all, by the way, a collection case, the meat potatoes of a collection case is a 433A or a 433A OIC, which is I call it the 6-page snapshot of the client's current financial position. You know, they look at assets, liabilities, income, and expenses. That could be done. That could be put together by a paraprofessional, an admin, a legal secretary. It does not need a license to do that. So 70 to 80% of the work is not even done by the CPA or the EA. And someone who is just starting out can handle easily 2 to 3 to 4 cases a month without it really affecting their practice. You know, that's an extra 15, 20 grand a month at 5,000 in additional revenues. Now, when I had my firm, we had 16 licensed professionals that were supported by 40 support staff. And the case managers, the CPAs, the EAs, and lawyers had caseloads of about 100 to 125 clients at any given time. So if you set this up with a system and a process, you can really, because the money in the resolution business is not only in the follow-up, but it's in the efficiency on how efficient you are at resolving the cases.
Wow. Yeah. So you could really scale this for sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And then, this is a great opportunity to tie in, you know, what we do with offshore staffing. I mean, we assist with the tax resolution for sure, but that can all be kept onshore, and then the compliance work, right, can all be done offshore. And then this is how they can really scale and grow quickly, right? And so those are some of the solutions that we offer in regards to that, specifically with taxes too. I mean, our number one business is tax. Bookkeeping is 1A, audit is 1B, right? And so having the opportunity to focus this onshore, worry about the compliance offshore, and everything keeps rolling, and they're able to scale and grow and bring all this together.
One of the things that you bring to the table, especially with regard to bookkeeping, because a lot of these clients, especially the small business, the Schedule Cs, or even the corps that are, 2 million and under in revenue, their books are a mess. I mean, totally a mess.
A lot of work,
what we did is we didn't do any in-house bookkeeping. And I'm talking years ago. We outsourced that. Now, Entigrity wasn't a solution then, or offshore wasn't a big deal then. We outsourced it to bookkeepers in the client's local area to get the books done, and then they would come back and we would prepare the return. But if a practitioner can send it to one place like Entigrity, and you guys are set up for that, I think it's a great solution that you would provide to tax resolution professionals with regard to the bookkeeping aspect. Yeah,
it definitely goes hand in hand. Now, so let's talk about some of the things that you do, right? So some of the programs that you offer. Is there like a monthly membership, or do you have are you hands-on, or do you have programs where you kind of self-study? Can you talk about what you do for clients?
Right. So what and we have a lot of free resources for your audience as well.
Oh, awesome.
If you go to rozstrategies.com, there's some free resources there. And also on my YouTube channel, we have like 100 short training videos, and that's Michael Rozbruch's Tax and Business Solutions Academy on YouTube. But what we do is we offer a handheld solution. We have a physical product, which we call, and that's our signature product, which we call the Tax Resolution Domination System and Toolkit. And that comes attached to a monthly membership. And there's a couple of different levels in the membership. So we like to think of that the physical product, the stuff that comes in a box, is all the how-to, and the membership is the bridge to the implementation piece.
Perfect.
So we provide unlimited technical support, case support, marketing support. And then we have a couple of levels. People who want to work with me a little more closely, we have 2 other mastermind levels, of a founders group and a platinum, which we actually meet in person. It's a small group. So there's different ways people can work with us.
Wow. Yeah. So starting with your resources that you have out there, getting the gist of it, seeing what's offered, then they could decide, how much do they want to go into this?
Exactly.
Right? They would want to get their feet wet and try it out, or they're just want to do this all in 100%, and you'll be by their side essentially. That's great. No, that's awesome. Wow. This is, I've had different coaches, mentors, advisors come onto this series, but this has been really interesting, I got to say, just because of the value, one, that it offers in saving small businesses, and 2, the revenue, the services, and it's not really a big time commitment either. Wow.
It's work though. It does take work. And I think, there's only in the country, if you think about it, because I've done some research on it, there's only about 4,500 firms and practitioners that offer this as a separate lucrative service offering. Wow. So there's way more demand than there is supply. And the reason, Chris, that more accountants and EAs don't get into it is they're afraid of the work. Yeah. They're afraid of messing up. They're afraid of making a mistake. And my answer to them is always, look, if someone comes to you owing $75,000, they have 4 years of unfiled returns. They're being levied by their employer. There ain't nothing you could do to make that situation worse. Nothing. Okay, they're already screwed up.
True. Very true.
And it's such a small leap. Since you're already credentialed and you already know tax, it's really a small leap to learn the technical side of resolution.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. Well, I learned a lot myself today. I really appreciate you coming on. And before we sign off, though, give us some final thoughts today. Really appreciate this input.
Sure. Well, it's important to at least be aware of tax resolution today, because everyone listening, if you're in the tax business, 25% to 1/3 of your clients are going to become, if not already, a tax problem resolution client due to the economic devastation of COVID-19. So you really need to learn, in my opinion, how to handle these cases, and more importantly, how to charge for them so that you can actually enjoy the work and make a lot of money and impact people's lives. You're basically saving someone's financial life when you're getting them help from coming out, under the 8 ball with the IRS. So it's important that it's going to be around for a while. And every Democratic administration, the IRS has decimated their budget over the last 10 years. They've lost 20% of their headcount. They've lost budget. But every Democratic administration, going back to Clinton and under Obama, and it's going to happen under Biden, they will beef up and give money to the IRS, and it's already underway. Chuck Reddick, who's the IRS commissioner, spoke yesterday, and he's already predicting that they're going to be receiving probably close to $1 billion in additional funding in 2021, 2022, most of that going towards enforcement. So.
Ooh, yeah, wow, that's a good little tidbit right there. Yeah, that's traditionally what happens, but it's going to be, they printed a lot of money, so they're going to be wanting it back.
Now they have to pay that money, so they're going to come over. They're going to go to the American taxpayer and hit them over the head with a club. As soon as this COVID-19, the further we get away from the pandemic and get back to normal, the IRS is going to come out like gangbusters.
Oh God, absolutely. I agree with you, spot on. But Michael, awesome. This was really, really good information that you provided to our audience today. And everybody, thank you for taking time out this morning for joining us. We're signing off now. We'll be meeting with you guys soon in a couple of weeks for some more information. But I know you got to get back to the season, so get back to work. Michael, thank you so much. It was awesome today.
Thank you, Chris.
Have a good day.
You too. Thanks. All right. Bye-bye.